Hi everyone, this is Dave from Geekanoids and welcome to my very first live stream on YouTube. This is a big deal for me and it's taken a long time to really work out the logistics of broadcasting live on YouTube. And the purpose of tonight's live event is really just to do a little bit of testing for me so I can get used to all of the systems I'm going to be using on Monday evening. Now, as we all know, Monday sees the Apple WWDC 2012 conference start, and we're going to be expecting some big announcements from the event itself by way of developer announcements, but also there is a lot of expectation about other announcements as well, and I'm talking things like new software, new hardware, and maybe even some new products. Now, Apple don't normally launch new products at this event, but hopefully this time round we will see some new products as well. So what have we got to look forward to? Well, let's just share this screen with you, and you can see here that the WWDC 2012 kicks off on June the 11th, so that's this Monday, and it runs through all week until June the 15th in San Francisco. Now, the WWDC is really for developers. It's called the Worldwide Developers Conference, but it always kicks off with a keynote. This time around we're going to get the whole sort of management team up on stage, the likes of Tim Cook, Phil Schiller, the rest of the team, maybe even Johnny Ive might be there, and we're really hoping to see some new announcements in the way of actual products, and that's what I want to talk to you about this evening. So let's just have a look and see if we've got anybody in the live chat. And we have got some commenters, so I'm going to be taking questions as well during this first live stream. But basically, a very quick shout out, seeing as this is my first live YouTube broadcast, just to the chat room, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Everything's looking good this end, and I'm hoping that you can hear all of the audio okay. If anybody's following me on Twitter, you can always tweet at Geekanoids. Use the hashtag GeekWWDC or WWDCGeek, and I'll try and answer questions that way as well. But if anybody wants to just give me a quick tweet just to confirm the audio's coming through loud and clear, I'm sure it is. And if any technical issues occur tonight, I will obviously iron them out in time for Monday's broadcast. Now, my Monday broadcast, before I go on to talking about WWDC, is going to be at 7:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m? I might have actually got that wrong. Let's just check that. Let's have a look. That's not very professional of me, but let's just double check I'm giving out the right times. So we have got Monday's event scheduled for 7:30 p.m. on the Monday. Now the keynote UK time is going to take part at 6 p.m. so hopefully it will last hour and a half. My broadcast will start at 7:30 p.m. UK time. It might overlap a tiny bit, but normally the keynote speech takes an hour and a half. If it does overlap, you'll just miss the sort of introductions on my broadcast, but hopefully you'll all be able to join me for that. So let's just talk through what we're going to be expecting. Now, the first thing that we're definitely going to hear about on Monday is iOS 6. This has already been leaked via some banners that have appeared at the conference centre, and we're going to hear all about the future of iOS. Now, when it comes to iOS 6, I'm really personally not sure what to expect from it. Basically, I have been torn over the last year and a half between getting quite bored with iOS as it stands in iOS 5 and really looking forwards to iOS 6 to hope that they give us some extra features by way of customization. And what I mean by that is that yes, we had some of our hunger actually fed by the notifications bar that they introduced in iOS 5. Yes, a lot of Android users said it was copied from Android, and yeah, admittedly it was very similar. Apple did their own take on it We also got sort of the notification center, so some really nice refinements in iOS 5. But what we're still lacking is that user customization. Now, I'm not sure whether Apple will ever give us that level of customization. What they might well introduce is more in the way of widgets and also interaction between other services. We've also had rumours of Facebook integration, heavy Facebook integration in iOS 6, so that will most probably be coming. But what I'm really hoping is that we're given the tools so we can make the OS our own. Now, Apple have got this habit of wanting to keep you to working with a device the way they want you to. And they do that for a lot of reasons. They do that for stability. They do this sort of sandboxing system where everything's got to stay within their control. And I can understand that. I truly can. But a lot of iOS users are getting bored of iOS. So let's hope that Apple deliver on that front. Now I'm going to just take a look at my question stream, just see if I've got any questions coming in about iOS 6. We've got Yoni TechVid saying that he's looking forward to new Macs, iOS 6 and new iPods. Well, yeah, as I said, we're definitely going to get iOS 6, but when it comes to new iPods, we are not going to see new iPods at this event. I'll be very, very doubtful if that happens. And the reason I say that is because traditionally new iPods are announced and launched in September time, and that hasn't really gone away from that date for a long, long time. So I doubt that we will see this at WWDC. Now, moving on from iOS 6, normally WWDC is all about the software, so we're going to definitely hear about the new version of Mac OS X. A lot of new features being built into the new operating system that's coming to the Mac desktops. I've got a major fear on this front that it's going to really start looking too much like iOS for the desktop. I hope they do keep a lot of the professional features in and a lot of the advanced features that we've all become used to. And apart from that, I'm not too happy with the way OS X is going personally. When OS X was first launched, I was extremely happy, and then they refined it again. Then with the latest version, it just sort of went that way towards feeling a bit too consumer oriented, and I'm just hoping that they bring it back to the Pro status. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're really trying to make it as easy as possible to use, because they're getting a lot more popular nowadays, and they're really transitioning across to being a consumer electronics company rather than a computer company. I hate to say it, don't hate me for saying that, but I just think they need to look back at their roots and really make a unique user experience, both for iOS and OS X, but the desktops seem to be a very low priority for Apple at the moment, and that's because they're doing so well with their consumer electronics lines, such as the Apple iPad, the iPod range and the iPhone. So let's just hope that they do go back to their roots. Moving on, we are also expecting something possibly done with Apple TV. Now I think this will be a very small announcement. I think that with regards to Apple TV, they're purely just going to announce that they're opening this up to developers. That will be absolutely superb, and I say absolutely, not absolutely, because they should open this up so that we can get apps onto the Apple TV. There's been a lot of talk for a long time that they may well be releasing a device that includes a screen, so an actual TV, but I can't see Apple ever doing that, not for a long time yet. And that's purely because of the turnaround of TVs. Somebody normally buys a TV and keeps it for between sort of 2 and 5 years. Apple aren't going to be happy with that product cycle. I know some people that have had same TV for sort of 10 years. Apple would never go down that route. So I think they're going to stick to their little tiny Apple TV box and just open that up to developers so that they can get their hands on the real core of the OS in the Apple TV and start delivering more functionality to it. That'll be absolutely superb. So let's just take another look and see if we've got any more questions. Mr. Matific, do you think we'll get OS X features in iOS? in answer to that question, that's a really good question. I don't think we're going to see OS 10 features in iOS so much. I think it's going to be the other way round. I think they're going to introduce a lot more iOS features and sort of dumb down OS 10 a lot. I certainly think that's the way they're going, rather than the way you're suggesting in your question. So moving on, what else are we going to expect to see? Well, traditionally, it's all about the software. It's all about talking to the developers. It's all about moving things forward so that they can deliver great experiences on the Apple platform. Now, my prediction may well not play out, but I honestly think that come Monday, before the actual WWDC kicks off, we might see some refinements to the Mac laptop and desktop ranges prior to the event. If we don't, then it will happen very, very quickly within WWDC keynote itself. Now, the reason I say that is I really don't think they're going to spend a lot of time on the hardware. I think they're going to primarily concentrate on software announcements, but we should hear something about new MacBook Airs and MacBook Pros. Now, whether they're going to create a new category slap bang in the middle of the MacBook Airs and MacBook Pros is another thing. We're only guessing at the moment, but we should see at least upgrades across the range with new processors and possibly new displays. There has been a lot of talk lately about new Retina displays in the laptop and desktop ranges, and if we get a Retina display in a 13-inch and 15-inch MacBook Air, that would be absolutely superb. Now, Retina displays would mean that we're not necessarily going to get tiny little icons and tiny text, but what it should mean is as we switch resolutions, we get clearer and crisper text. Now, sticking with the MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs, there's also been talk of a new thinner 15-inch MacBook Pro that's going to take the form and shape of the current MacBook Air line. I think that would be absolutely fantastic if they do deliver something along that front. Now, going back to the questions very quickly, Dave, you're bolder and wiser in each video, but your video is laggy. That's all to do with the bandwidth. I'm testing this at the moment, and the lagginess is to do with both my bandwidth and your bandwidth. Hopefully it will be a lot better for the live feed on Monday. Adam X Productions, iOS 6 on an iPhone 3GS. Very, very doubtful. And N5 Adam says, Dave, you're in favour of widgets, because I'm not. I feel it will seriously impact the performance of the device. Well, I'll talk about that in a short while, because we might not necessarily primarily just get iOS 6. We might get another device alongside that. I'm going to talk about that in the second half of this broadcast. What other questions have we got? Mushroom Washed Face. Do you think Apple will outdo Android or play catch up with quad-core Android phones such as the Samsung Galaxy S3? Well, we all know that I tested the Samsung Galaxy S3 and the HTC One X on the Geekanoids channel, and they are superb phones in their own right. I still don't quite gel very well with, or get on very well with Android. I always seem to come back to iOS, but the performance on both of those handsets, absolutely fantastic. They have done such an awesome job on performance that they are so fluid in their operation. The camera's awesome. Those camera apps on both phones where you can just keep the shutter button pressed down and you get loads and loads of shots all in succession, brilliant. Camera quality brilliant, screen quality brilliant. They were a little bit hot to touch sometimes. They got a bit warm when you were using them hard, but overall those two latest phones, the HTC One X and Samsung Galaxy S3, admittedly I agree with you, they were fantastic, and Apple has to play catch up, and they will do that with the next iPhone, so with the new iPhone or iPhone 5. But I'm going to talk about that in a little while. I'm not going to move on to talking about the iPhone too much yet, but yes, Apple are playing catch up because they're behind these quad-core phones, so definitely that will happen in hopefully in WWDC 2012, or at least within the next couple of months. So fantastic question. Dobbs50 has asked, will we get liquid metal MacBooks? I don't think we will. I think they'll stick with their current sort of manufacturing with the MacBooks and MacBook Airs and MacBook Pros. I don't think they're going to introduce liquid metal to that device. I think they're going to introduce that to their smaller devices, such as the iPhone 5 and the new iPod range, which we'd expect to see in September time. So, fantastic question. Now, before I move on to talking about any more of the announcements that we're hoping to see on Monday, I will just take a very short break, about 60 seconds, and I'll be straight back with you. Hello everybody, I am back. I promised you that would be a short break just to give me a chance to have a quick drink, and I want to move on to talk about what a lot of us are hoping will come out of WWDC 2012. Now, one of the things we're all waiting to hear about obviously is iOS 6, but there should be a new device that gets launched alongside iOS 6, and that is of course the iPhone 5. Now, we've seen lots of renderings and graphic images of the iPhone 5, but we've also seen some very interesting, if they're real, leaked videos of the iPhone 5. Now, we haven't seen the actual iPhone 5 in its entirety, but what we have seen is a leaked video of some of the parts, and I found it absolutely fascinating looking at that video. It looked very, very genuine, and it showed a larger iPhone 5 and an encasement that had a sort of metal back, a very, very nice sleek looking back in two different tone colours. Now, it also had the ability to actually house a 4-inch screen. Now, if that happens, we've been wanting this for a long time. Everybody's been saying that all of the Google Android handsets have been moving on to having larger screens. We're up to 4.7, 4.8 inches, 5.3 inches if you include the Galaxy Note. And everyone's been saying the iPhone 4S and the iPhone 4 just feels too small. If the 4-inch screen is delivered on the iPhone 5, I think it will be a massive winner for Apple. Of course, whatever they release iPhone wise will be brilliant, but they really do need to address people's urge to want to upgrade to a bigger screen. It's sort of against what Apple have always said. They've always said that when you're holding a device, and I'll show you obviously my iPhone 4S here, they've said when you're holding a device you should be able to sort of use the screen easily from sort of left to right with one hand, and being able to reach both sides of the screen. But it's been proved that with these 4-inch plus devices, you can still quite comfortably operate it one-handed and sort of move your finger or thumb from side to side without really having to stretch too far. So a 4-inch screen for me would be the sweet point. I found that when I was using the 4.65 inch screen of the Galaxy Nexus and then the larger screens on the One X and the Samsung Galaxy S3, screen size was fine. It was just the overall device size seemed just a tiny bit too large. Not a lot in it, but just a tiny bit large. Now, as well as the larger screen on the iPhone 5, hopefully we'll get an upgraded processor, upgraded memory. That will be absolutely fantastic if they do that. And hopefully they'll have also addressed the antenna issues. And with the larger encasement, there should be room for an upgraded battery as well. So we should be getting a larger screen, better battery life, better signal, and hopefully a better resolution using some sort of scaling inside. Will it go up to full HD resolution? We don't know. It's not far off at the moment, but I'm just really looking forward to seeing if they do actually give us a preview of this new device. I don't honestly think it will be available straight away. I think we're going to be waiting until the sort of September, October timeframe to actually get our hands on the device. But wouldn't it be cool if they announced iOS 6 and then also said we've also got some news for you on the iPhone 5 as well. So let me break off and have a look at the questions again. Let's see what else we've got coming. Sir Technologic has asked, why is everyone getting so worked up about widgets? I sort of tend to agree, but apart from widgets being added, I'm not sure what else they could do. And I think people get worked up about it because they see the real usability factor of widgets and how useful they are on the Android platform. Even when you look at Windows Phone and they've got the live updating tiles, that is quite a useful function. And all we get on iOS 5 at the moment is notification badges and obviously notifications that come down from the top. I think live updating icons or widgets would be a really good addition to the iPhone. What other questions have we got? We've got TechnoGuy49. Will Apple bring some revolutionary new features to the iPhone to outdo the competitors? Can I email you, please? Well, yeah, of course you can email me. My email is geekanoids@gmail.com. And what would they bring to the table that will really outdo the competitors? Well, I think that people really have to be wowed by the screen, first of all, on this device. I also think they might upgrade the camera, not necessarily to a higher resolution, although I can see them edging towards the 12 megapixel front, but just to improve the overall quality and also maybe doing a better aperture on the camera just to give you more control over that depth of field, and also with regards to low light performance. So I can certainly see them doing that and really making it a flagship product to make people think twice before looking at all of the Android phones. They make their choice a lot easier when it comes to mobile phones just by having sort of one iPhone range, whereas there are lots of manufacturers making Android phones, so I think they've got that on their side as well. What else they bring to the table we really won't know until they announce it, and as I say, hopefully we'll all find out on Monday. So what other questions have we got? We've got a statement here from Nikki Black Metal. I think Apple will not do big screen in the iPhone 5 like the HTC Evo 3D or the 1X. HTC have a bigger screen, but it's not so important. I tend to agree a little bit. It's not so important to everybody. I mean, I'm sort of satisfied with the size of my screen on my iPhone 4S. But when you put this up against the large screens that we've got on the HTC One X and the Samsung Galaxy S3, it does look a little bit puny. So I think Apple really do need to address this. It's been the same size screen since its launch. So I think they really do need to do something on screen size. So what other questions have we got? Definitely, Amit Lau, hello to you. We need a better battery life. That is something that larger encasement will enable. The fact that we've got more room inside that they're hopefully not going to take up with all of the other technology they're putting in there should enable them to improve the battery life. It's been a big bugbear with a lot of users. When I had my first iPhone 4S, it suffered very bad battery life. And I know a lot of you that follow me on Twitter and watch my videos also experience bad battery life, so they definitely need to address that without a doubt. Now, moving on, we are going to move on to talk a little bit more about what we can expect with regards to hardware announcements. Now, I covered off that we're hopefully going to see new MacBook Air and MacBook Pro lineups. We should also see the whole of the range updated. Now, whether they do this as a quiet update before WWDC or whether they do it after the event is another matter. But certainly with regards to the big beast of the Mac Pro, I'm really hoping that we do see the Mac Pro updated. We've got lots of new processors available now, so it shouldn't be that hard for them to put together a new spec Mac Pro. We've been waiting a long time, and there have been some part numbers leaked out. Via 9to5Mac, we've got sort of better, best and ultimate part numbers that relate to Mac Pros, and they should be incorporating the new Xeon E5 chips in here. They could easily use those, and the professional tower range they've got, the Mac Pros, really are overdue an update. I've got a Mac Pro myself. I feel as though Apple have forgotten me. There's been no updates for a long time. It's been almost 2 years since we've seen an update, and that is unforgivable. The concern I've got regarding Mac Pros, and a lot of people were worrying about this before they saw the part numbers come out, is that this might be a no update situation, or it might be the last update we see to the Mac Pro, and then we might not see any more. That will be a big shame if they think that the Pro market can purely be served by iMacs. Big shame. So Apple either need to do updates to these very quietly, either pre-WWDC, during WWDC, or very soon after, so that they deliver something for us pros. It's got to be done, Apple. I know you're probably not watching this, but I really do hope they do. And there's been a lot of fuel to feed this, in the fact that Apple has been pulling stock from pro retail outlets in the week preceding WWDC. Stocks have dried up everywhere, so it does look as though they're preparing something. Staying on desktops, we should also see new iMacs. They have got to upgrade the iMacs as well. They're due an update. We've got Ivy Bridge processors, which should also work their way into the mobile platform as well. But new iMacs, I would probably predict we're going to see the same sort of 4 levels of iMac that we've currently got. 21.5 inch 2 models, 27 inch 2 models. I think they're really going to be pushing for upgraded processors, upgraded storage options as well. The price of solid state drives has dropped dramatically in the last sort of couple of months, and I think Apple need to take advantage of that and really push all of these out with SSD options, or maybe even SSD as standard. Wouldn't that be cool? There's also been talks that with the Ivy Bridge processors, we're going to also see USB 3 introduced. That would be absolutely awesome as well. So very exciting week ahead. Really looking forward to Monday to hopefully see all of the desktop and laptop range updated, not forgetting the Mac Mini, as well as all of the regular software announcements that we get at WWDC. So that's sort of what we're expecting. We'll take a few more questions. Mr. Matific, new iMacs. Yes, we just covered that. There should definitely be new iMacs. And have we got any more questions coming in on the live stream? Let me check my Twitter stream as well. Have we got any new ones coming in on Twitter? We've got one question here from Romain B. Is it UK time? If you're referring to the live stream, it's happening now on YouTube. If you're referring to WWDC, kicks off 6 PM UK time. So if you're working off UK time, 6 PM. And that is all of the questions on Twitter at the moment. Let me just check my live stream again. And we have got a question here from Dimagog101. And this isn't relating to WWDC at all. It's how did you create your nickname Geekanoids? The word anoids I sort of associated with somebody being sort of addicted to something. It sort of reminded me of a drug name a little bit as well. And the word geek is obviously because I'm a true geek. I'm an Apple geek, a gadget geek, tech geek, whatever you want to call me. And I just merged the two words together. Now, Geekanoids came after my original channel name, which was Davo Mr. Mac, and that name came from my use of various forums, including the Apple Discussions forums. And when I first started off on YouTube, I used Davo Mr. Mac as my name. Geekanoids came a little bit later on. Techno Guy 49, very good question this. Which of the new iMacs will you be buying? Well, whenever these WWDC start, I always have my credit card at the ready because things seem to go a bit frantic afterwards and orders go in. Now, sometimes I can't divulge where I order from, but sometimes I don't put in my orders through normal channels. Sometimes I get sent the products to review, so I don't always order them and buy the products in. Apple do send me things from time to time. So I normally put the orders in on another channel altogether, and it's not a retail channel or anything. And I will be asking for all of the new models that come in. So I'll be asking for one of the new MacBook Pros or MacBook Airs if they release those, a new Mac Mini, a new iMac and a new Mac Pro. Now, in addition to that, to ensure I can bring you some awesome coverage on these new products, I do normally purchase one product for myself. Now, depending on what they launch, I will be getting in an iMac, most definitely. So one of the new 27-inch or whatever the size they do iMacs will be something that I'll purchase into review, and the other reviews will follow when Apple send me through the products to review. So you can expect a lot of coverage on the new products. With regards to mobile devices, if they launch a new iPhone 5, then again I'll put an order in for a review product, which comes through a little bit later sometimes, but I will buy an iPhone 5 to use personally, and also so that I can bring you unboxings and reviews and tests on the product as well. With regards to Apple TV, if they do an update to that, which I don't really think they're going to do because they've just recently done the Apple TV 2, but any updates they do to that I will download and I'll bring you coverage of those as well. So great question. Next one is from Dale Suds. Will we see more Geekanoids YouTube live events? Well, you're obviously watching the very first one now, and I hope it's coming through okay. I've got plans to really upgrade my upload speeds here so that I can actually stream to you in HD. At the moment you're probably seeing this in either 360 or 480p, so not fantastic quality, but hopefully the data rate's okay so I'm not too jerky, and hopefully the audio quality is okay as well. Directly in answer to your question though, Dale, yes, there will be more. There's obviously the one that I'm doing on Monday evening after WWDC, and then there's also more planned for whenever there is a special event. I don't think I'll do these on a weekly basis to start off with, purely because of my workload creating videos to upload to the channel, but as time allows me to, I will try and introduce more regular live streams on YouTube. But rest assured, whenever there is a special event, for example, if I'd have had this set up in time for E3, you would have got E3 live events, but any new event that comes out, I will hopefully cover it live as well. I'm also looking to be able to actually bring you mobile live events. It's going to take some investment on my part, but I'm hoping to be able to stream live from a video camera in HD so I can be on location as well. That might take me 3 to 6 months to sort that out, but definitely something I'm working on. So the other questions coming in. Ashley's Apps, Apple send out review products? Yes, they do. Simsy1997, will you be doing an editing studio tour? Yes, I'm in my editing room at the moment actually, and I will be doing an editing room tour in the near future. You're going to have to give me probably a couple of months to get round to it because I've got such a big workload on at the moment, but probably I'll do it after the new products come in. So after these new Apple products come in, you'll probably see an iMac in the editing room as well, and that give me something a little bit different to talk about. There's not been a lot of changes since my first editing room tour. There's been some really great questions tonight, so I've really enjoyed sort of talking to you guys, and I've really enjoyed doing this live stream. It's been a really good experience for me, not only to talk to you about what we're expecting from WWDC, but also just to test my settings and test all of the technology and user interface that I'm using. After I've done this live stream and closed it down, I would really appreciate you all actually tweeting me on Twitter. Now, if you can follow me on Twitter at Geekanoids, but also tweet me after I've closed this event down and let me know what you thought of the quality, if you experienced any issues, and that really helps me getting some feedback on this first live stream so that I can sort of iron out any of the problems, hopefully in time for Monday evening. And I'm always looking for that sort of feedback so I can improve quality. So please do both subscribe to the Geekanoids channel and also follow me on Twitter and tweet me after this event. That really would help me a great deal. So let's just see if we've got any more questions coming in. We've got about another sort of 10 minutes on this live stream. We have got a question from Mr. In Bavo Style. Is this the end? No, it's not. We've got, as I say, 10 minutes to go. Mr. Matific, will you go to live Apple events? Will you go live, to Apple events in the future? Well, a lot of Apple events only happen in the US. I'm based in the UK. When there's a big announcement, sometimes they put on events in London, in the UK. It is my intention to attend those events as well. And if I can stream live from them, I will. If not, I will capture video at the events and then upload it very shortly afterwards to the Geekanoids channel. There is such a great deal of technology to look into when you're looking at streaming live from an external event. I looked at the technology involved the other day, and just one piece of equipment, one small little box to attach to an HD video camera, was about £2,000 just to allow streaming. So I'm looking for a cheaper method of doing it. Might involve carrying my laptop around and having sort of a cameraman with me. But if I can do it, I will stream live from events. That is a great question. Techno Guy 49 says he can't see anything. The stream is actually looking really clear to me, so it should be still viewable to you as well. Try refreshing your page and that should sort it out. Good question here from Dan Tech Manify. Do you think the Mac Pro will have PCI Express 3 slots? They should upgrade alongside what the various processors and motherboards allow. So not only should we expect to get USB 3, I think they will upgrade the PCI Express slots as well. So yes, my prediction is you will see that upgrade in the Mac Pros. Have we got any other questions? We have got, how long does the WWDC keynote last? That's coming from Techno Guy 49. It normally lasts between an hour and an hour and a half for the keynote. The actual event goes on all week, so Monday through to Friday. And apart from the keynote announcement, there's lots of seminars, workshops, chances to get your hands on new hardware and software implementations. And if you're going to the event and you've registered for a week, you can go into these workshops and take advantage of having all of the Apple engineers on site and really experience WWDC as an engineer would. So it goes on all week, but we primarily, I say we, the people looking in from the outside, look at the keynote and whatever sort of hardware or software announcements happen during that hour or hour and a half keynote. I can't remember in history it ever going on longer than about an hour and a half. So I hope that's answered your question. Have we got any more questions? Let's just have a look back through the chat. N5 Adam said again he thought that Apple didn't send reviewers test devices. If you look back on my channel, a lot of my iPod Nano reviews, my iPod Classic reviews, some of the software reviews where I've covered Apple software such as iWork and Pages, they've all been from review products. So Apple definitely do have a PR team and they definitely supply products for review. I think they've sort of scaled back on it, but they definitely do. You can take my word for it because I've dealt with them personally. I've got a non-Apple related question. I shouldn't really take this, but I think this will help this viewer out. Simsy 1997. I'm 15. I've got a budget of around £400. I was wondering what DSLR you would recommend for my budget. This will be my first DSLR. Well, for that sort of money, I think you're going to really be looking at a Canon 1100D or a Nikon D3100. They're the two primary ones that would fit into your budget. If you're looking at maybe smaller than a DSLR, maybe looking at one of the interchangeable lens cameras or ILCs as they're known from something like Sony, maybe you could look at a Nex C3 or a Nex F3 that's coming out very soon. That might just dip within your budget. The Nex C3s are going very cheap at the moment and you're going to get DSLR type features but in a smaller body. So a non-Apple related question, but I felt really generous there to actually take that in. Next one from Gadget Alien. Do you think the new iMac will have a Retina display? I hope it will. I'm really not sure whether the Retina displays will make it to the desktops this time round or whether they'll keep them to the smaller screen laptop devices and then introduce them to the likes of the iMac next time round. So possibly, we can only hope. So I think I'm going to wrap things up for this first live stream on YouTube. Again, please do tune in 7:30 p.m. right after the Apple keynote on Monday, the 11th of June, 7:30 p.m. British Summer Time, and I'll be doing a recap on all of the announcements that have happened during WWDC. I hope you've enjoyed this live event on YouTube. I do plan on doing a lot more, so please do give me plenty of feedback. As I said during the sort of middle of this live stream, please do subscribe to the Geekanoids channel. It really does help me a lot. Please follow me on Twitter by following @Geekanoids, and give me some feedback on whether you like the live broadcasting on YouTube, what you thought of the quality, both video and audio, any improvements I can make. And I will see you all again on Monday for that WWDC Revisited. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.